Good morning. Today is Thursday, September the 17th, and this is our weekly COVID-19 update briefing. As of this morning in Bossier Parish, we are at 2,964 positive cases. That's an increase of 103 since our last report. And unfortunately, we have had 4 more deaths in the parish, which brings our total to date to 104. Last week, Governor Edders informed us that we had met the federally mandated gating criteria, which moved us into phase 3 of the recovery effort. And so he did that on September 11th, last Friday, and this will be in place for 28 days, expiring on October the 9th, or as extended by a subsequent proclamation, or unless terminated sooner. The gating criteria has not changed, but the federal guidelines have a caveat that state and local officials cannot make issues less stringent than the protocols, but they can make them more stringent if they deem it appropriate. Our move to phase 3 was indeed good news, but we cannot let our guard down. We must continue the prevention and mitigation protocols if we are to function safely in phase 3 and not return to a lower phase of the recovery effort. So, what can we expect in phase 3? The federal guidelines are as follows. First, vulnerable individuals, and generally speaking, that's persons age 65 or older, and individuals with serious underlying health conditions such as high blood pressure, chronic lung disease, diabetes, asthma, obesity, and those whose immune system is compromised, such as for chemotherapy, for cancer, and other requiring such therapy. But also in phase 3, lower risk populations should consider minimizing the time spent in crowded environments. Employers may resume unrestricted staffing of work sites. Visits to senior care facilities and hospitals can resume, but those who interact with residents and patients must be diligent regarding hygiene. Large venues such as sit-down dining facilities, movie theaters, sports venues, and places of worship can operate under limited physical distancing protocols. Gyms may remain open if they adhere to standard sanitation protocols. Bars have had a significant change in directions from the state with the governor's last proclamation 117. I will summarize those for you. They're pretty extensive. First, with an exception, no bar with or without food service permit from the Louisiana Department of Health shall allow for on-premise consumption of any food or drinks. Any bar shall be allowed to provide takeout through drive-through or curbside delivery to include alcohol. The exception is that bars shall be open for on-premise consumption under one condition. It must be in a parish where the percent positivity rating is 5% or less and has been that way for at least 2 weeks. Also, the governing authority of such parishes must affirmatively opt in to allow that to happen. And then lastly, should they subsequently exceed 10%, they have to go back to the normal restrictions affecting everybody. So this is the exception. But there are many other restrictions that we need to be aware of regarding bars. First, next, no bar operating under this criteria shall exceed 25% occupancy or 50 patrons, whichever is less. Outdoor service shall be allowed, but in no event can the outdoor seating capacity exceed 50 patrons, and no standing room capacity shall be allowed. The service and sales of alcoholic beverages for on-premise consumption shall only occur between the hours of 8 a.m. and 10 p.m. The bars shall be closed by 11 p.m. All patrons must be seated at tables and all service shall be 2 patrons while seated at tables. There be no walk-up service at the bar. That will not be allowed. All seating of patrons shall be socially distanced. No patron shall be allowed on premise unless they are the legal age to purchase alcoholic beverages, and that is age 21 or more. So those, ladies and gentlemen, are the changes, and quite frankly, somewhat controversial, but they are what is proclaimed in the most recent proclamation from the governor. The governor has also stated that young adults 18 to 24 continue to be a significant part of the new cases. He says it may be due to the increase in amusement-type facilities, but again, lack of compliance with mitigation and protocols seems to be the underlying theme, and that may not have been followed as well as we might have liked in the recent Labor Day weekend. As previously stated, COVID-19 has not gone away since we entered the Phase 3, and it is mandated that we do have face covering. Quote, every individual in Louisiana shall wear a face covering over the mouth and nose when inside a commercial establishment or any other building or space open to the public, whether indoors or outdoors. This shall include public or commercial modes of transportation. Everyone age 8 and older shall wear a mask. Persons aged 2 to 7 are encouraged to wear a mask, but it's not mandated, and this order applies statewide. It's estimated 40+% of the people in our nation are asymptomatic, but unfortunately they can still spread the disease unknowingly to family and friends and others, so they need to be mindful, and they too must comply with the prevention and mitigation protocols. So what can we do to save lives, improve our economy, and to prevent regressing into a lower phase? Well, they remain as follows. Wear a mask, wash hands, cough into your elbow, do not touch your face, disinfect surfaces, social distance, sick, stay at home when sick, and follow the guidance of your medical provider. Next, the Center for Disease Control and the governor urging everyone to get a flu shot, a flu vaccination, to help prevent the compounding of having a flu season overlapping with the COVID pandemic season and making it much more difficult during the imminent flu season startup. The effects of Labor Day weekend and the activities associated with opening schools and colleges are not yet clearly known. The governor has stated that should there be an increase in the number of confirmed cases that would jeopardize hospitalizations and their ability to provide health care to properly respond, it may be necessary to regress back to a lower phase of the recovery. The issue of absentee voting remains somewhat controversial, but as recently as this morning, it appears that the guidance that we will be following during the November 3rd election is the same as what was used in July. So more details will be forthcoming on that, but a judge has ruled on that recently, as I understand it. I continue to urge that we all wear a mask for an additional reason, which is the impact this pandemic is having on our great military installation, which is Barksdale Air Force Base, and the people who serve and work there. The airmen of Team Barksdale must remain healthy to perform their missions in support of national defense. Our strong support for all the preventive and mitigation protocols will significantly assist in keeping our protectors well and minimize the restrictions that are placed on them during this pandemic. This will aid our airmen in returning to activities and entertainment provided by their favorite local establishments. The 2nd Bomb Wing Commander, Colonel Demetrian, and I urge local businesses to assist in preventive measures such as wearing a mask to help keep our airmen healthy and able to perform their crucial mission. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes today's briefing. Our next briefing will be Thursday, September the 24th. Thank you, and good day.